Yeah, oh, thanks so much for having me though. I'm so sorry it's taken so long to do it. I've been all over the shop lately. I'm so
Look,
sorry.
it's kind of like the way it is when you're like a musician, isn't it? There's so many like sporadic jobs come in and different
I
things
know.
pop up, and like you just have to go with it. Like, so
I
I
know.
understand. Like, it's no problem,
Thanks. I
not a
know.
bother.
I've been a total wreckhead about it though, so thanks for your patience. You're
No,
so
no,
good.
honestly, it's fine. I was there going, yeah, sure, I'll do one every second week, and then I was like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. So I'm actually only going to do one episode a month now.
Yeah,
For the time
yeah.
being, I might build it up to 2 months if the time allows it. But just with baby and everything, I'm like testing the waters all the time. Like I'm like, yeah, I'll try this, and then I try it, and then it's just not always possible. So
Yeah, I
so it's
totally
fine.
get you.
It's
But it's
I like.
amazing that you're doing it. I love your podcast. I always listen to it. It's steady.
Ah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm delighted to be back to it, even if it is like a bit reduced in frequency what I used to do it, because it's a lovely way to like just chat to people and meet people and just
Yeah.
connect with people, people I wouldn't necessarily see day to day, and you
Yeah.
kind of learn things as well. So it kind of keeps you a bit sharp.
Yeah, and like-minded people and as well even for you with like your course and everything, I'd say it's great just having like lots of different online ways to kind of like promote what you're doing and promote like your all your expertise and then, have other people's like their experiences too. And then you can but it's just great to have it like there's so much we can do online, I think, isn't it? So it's just
There's
great to
so
utilize all of
much.
it.
No, it's brilliant. Like it's brilliant. Like, and for me, even like I don't mind logging on to a workshop or a lesson or whatever online if I'm working with
Yeah.
a coach. So anywhere
Yeah.
in the world, really. Like some people don't
Yeah.
like online, but that's each to their own.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, some people don't. I actually love it. Like I love the freedom of online because
Yeah.
and even just like with like driving and stuff, like I find I just don't like driving really that much. Like I love the freedom driving gives me, but like commuting somewhere to drive somewhere to do this and everything, like it's different for gigs and things like that. But I love being able to do
Yeah.
lessons online and like you said, meeting up with other coaches or doing
Yeah.
workshops because it's so global, like it's steady.
It's brilliant, yeah, and like it is very time consuming having to travel for work as well, and like you do enough of that with your gigs and that anyway.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So tell me, I was just looking there at, like, I think you were probably like the first or second person I ever like interviewed or like chatted to in the podcast setting. Although when I chatted to you, I actually hadn't even decided I was going to do a podcast. It was just, I think it was an Instagram live, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it
I
was.
remember my Wi-Fi at the time was shocking.
Yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't great, and then I tried to kind of convert it into audio for podcast, and the audio wasn't great. But anyway, it's still there. It's online.
That's my
But
fault though, sorry, because I was
no,
literally in the west of Ireland, like just like we didn't even have proper like we Wi-Fi, but that was God, I can't believe that was nearly 4 years ago.
yeah,
Crazy.
crazy. It's nuts. But also, I was just recording it on my phone on Instagram Live, like so. But do you know what it was? Sometimes you procrastinate on ideas, and you get an idea, and you're like, fear basically stops you from doing it. Fear of
Yeah,
what failing or fear of what people think or whatever it is. And I just kind of got into my head, you know what? I'm going to just feel the fear and do it anyway. And I just
great.
said, I'm going to just go and do an Instagram live because it's easy. I just was able to like just click the button and then get it started.
Yeah,
And I wanted to ask, because I know that definitely like over the years, certain things have like held me back because of yeah, fear for different reasons. And I'm wondering,
yeah.
when did you or where did you find because you said with your course, I know you have an upcoming course that you've been wanting to do it for ages, and I'm wondering, where did you find the kind of confidence to finally step forward and like go for it?
Yeah, I love what you said about the feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Like that's
Yeah.
so brilliant and it's so like it's resilience in so many ways because it's like just letting yourself be like, right, this really really scares me, but I'm gonna do it anyway, and that's often when the magic happens. Like, so fair play for like doing that. That's class. That's
Thank
really
you.
cool.
And
Yeah,
same to you.
thanks. Yeah, I think it was like the feeling of like I suppose, like, and as you know, as a musician, like, say we put ourselves out there all the
Mhm.
time, and so much of it is like about, especially with social media, I think so much of it is like I'm doing this and look at me doing this, and I guess
Yeah.
it's just part of what we do. But I think I've always felt like uncomfortable with that, or something, that I like the feeling of
Yeah.
like, especially with like releasing music, and because it's so like you're pouring your heart out into a song and you're putting it out there, and like it's kind of like you're giving people your diary and being like, here you are. It's like
Yeah.
it's so I think that's not that it held me back, but I think it's something I've always felt a bit uneasy about. But it didn't stop me in saying that. Like I still, and I think the reason for that is because I just know that it's something that's the only thing that makes sense for me. Like when I sing, when I write,
Mm-hmm.
and when I'm connecting with people in like
Yeah.
in this kind of way as well. Like that's what makes sense to me when a lot of other things don't, if that makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, and I think what really struck me in the past 2 years in particular was like about the message of like what you're doing. So I found when I kind of peeled it back to that, because really I noticed what was making me uncomfortable was like probably my own, the way we often think ego is someone who's like being really, really like,
Full of
um,
themselves or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I think it can also be the opposite, in that it's
Yeah.
like making yourself small and putting yourself in a box, which I think I kind of did in ways, maybe probably just in my own head, like just kind of being like, oh geez, who do I think I am, the real Irish thing.
Yeah.
Um, but as I said, in saying that, I still kept doing the things that I loved doing, but I felt like I was kind of making myself small. So I suppose, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm making sense, but I suppose it's like that feeling of like, um, pushing past that and realizing like, right, why am I doing this? Why do I share the things I love? Do
Yeah.
I why do I like to connect with people? And what really struck me is like that we're a channel in a lot of ways, like I think people have their purpose in different ways and things that energize you, and something um that just really energizes me is connecting with people. So if I can do that in any way that I can that serves me and serves others, then I just kind of have to follow that. So that's kind of
Yeah.
what helped me push through the fear. I think kind of getting out of my own way and being like, right, this is something that it's not about me actually, it's about connection. So yeah,
And I think um when you step into a space with other people who also feel connected doing similar thing to you, like whether it's songwriting or performance or whatever it is, it feels more like a safe space,
yeah,
and it's kind of like a sounding kind of bowl. Like it's like you all kind of just vibrate off each other
yeah,
and can like really lift each other up and boost each other's kind of enthusiasm and motivation. And like something that I find a lot is I'm like I would doubt myself a lot, and then I think, oh no, I can't, like I don't put the value on myself that I should put on myself sometimes, and I'm
mm,
like, oh, but then I go and I like, for example, like as same with you, I also wanted to. I in my head I was like, in the future when I finish my college degree, I'd love to try to do a course. It sounds something like I'd really enjoy putting together and something I enjoy delivering, all the rest. But like I was kind of procrastinating a bit and getting it started in my mind, even though like I had to wait anyway because baby and all the rest. But then I joined do you know Whitney from the Singing Straw?
oh yeah,
She did
she's
like,
amazing.
yeah, she's such a like powerful businesswoman, and she's such a like kind of positive and bubbly energy. And she's announced she was doing like a business course, and like I didn't even have to think about it. I was like, I want to be part of that because like she has a track record. Like she's proven that she can be really good at what she does. Like she has a really successful like music teaching business,
Yeah,
multiple locations, and she has a Singing Straw product and other things going on. So I've been doing that for the last few weeks, every second week or so, and like I'm there in the course going, like, I can do this. This is something I can do. I don't know why I doubt myself.
yeah,
And I'm
exactly.
wondering, Did you find inspiration in anybody else that maybe you could have connected with over the last couple of years to kind of help draw you more into taking action on it?
Yeah, I completely relate to what you're saying. That's so, so true. Because I think a big part of it is like asking for help, isn't it? Because I
Yeah.
think when we're creative people, like, and kind of love a lot of things, it's like we've lots of ideas. I don't know if you find this as well, when you've lots of ideas and we know what it is that we want to do, but actually kind of being like, right, how do I do this? And I think the strategy and the logistics of it sometimes are things that take me a really, really long time.
Mm, yeah.
So it's like having guidance from someone like Whitney and people like that that just really help you to be like, oh, this actually, it can't, like someone said to me before, business is actually quite simple. And I never thought of it that way. I was like, oh, it's something that's just like very, very hard for me to reach.
Yeah.
But you're so right. I think so much of it comes down to like how you value yourself. Because
Yeah.
I had a similar thing. A friend of mine, there were two people who really, really, really helped me. So there's Lauren Ray. She's an incredible coach. She's called the Courage Coach, and my management at the time linked me up with Lauren, and she's just launched a company as well called Mind Before Music, where she helps artists, and she also does a lot around like subconscious reprogramming and stuff.
Mm,
Really, just fascinating mindset work. So I connected with Lauren, and she really, really helped me to realize that, like, with being an artist, I've been running a business for 10 years, even though I've always found that really weird to call it a business, like, because
yeah. True.
it's
Yeah.
me, like, but that's what it is. And like, and then she really helped me to kind of see, like, like through kind of like studying the voice, like yourself, and songwriting, and through like studying yoga as well and different healing modalities, like there is a space for that and there's a way to share that. So I kind of knew, I was like, I want to share it, but how do I bring it all together? So I've kind of
Yeah.
been Dublin for a long time. And so Lauren was like really, really helpful to kind of help me realize that it could be possible. And then I was at a yoga retreat last year, and I met Loretta actually before this, but properly met Loretta Kennedy. She's incredible. And Loretta has been helping me recently as well. And like she's just like a fountain of knowledge when it comes to business as well. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's really, really class. Like I think that's the cool thing about Instagram. You meet just like these like goddess, incredible women in business, and it's very
Yeah.
inspiring, isn't it? Like yourself, like what you're doing is just incredible with the podcast and your business, and like people like you inspire me so much too. So it's like
Ah.
finding when you see people doing it, and I think as well, I don't know if you find this too, but like as a woman as well, like growing up, like I was surrounded by really strong, brilliant women, but not a lot of women in business. So it wasn't really something I saw that much. So now seeing it, like it's just I feel like it's very like there's like an evolution of it at the moment. It's actually very empowering to see.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, Loretta's really helped me and Lauren's really helped me, and just to kind of bring it to life. And then it was Loretta that was like, just go for it, because I kind of said it out loud one day that I was like, I love creativity. I've always been obsessed with it. And I think it's like this source of magic that we all have access to all the time. And I know
Yeah.
that might sound airy fairy, but I think it can be as simple as like, it can be for 5 minutes in the car on the way to work or on your lunch break or
Mm-hmm.
going for a walk in the evening. It can be really subtle. But I have this, like, I've always been so fascinated by it and exploring the different mediums we can kind of tap into it with. And then through always writing songs growing up and singing and performing, and then after studying yoga too, I was like, there's so many similarities with all of these things. And I think that these things can kind of complement each other to to help others to see how they can tap into their creativity. I
Yeah.
do think it's in everyone in some way. And the amount of people you say that to who are like, no, 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 like it's not in me, but
Yeah.
I really, really think it's in everyone. So I think when I came back to kind of like what I said before, I suppose came back to that why of like why do I want to do this? And I just get so much fulfillment out of connection and helping others, whether that's through performing, songwriting, or in a in a coaching sense as well. Like it's something that's really, really fulfilling. So yeah, that's kind of what inspired me to do it, and seeing others like really go for it as well.
Yeah.
So I totally get you. I think being around that like-minded thing really helps you to believe you can as well.
Yeah, and like a lot of the language that you use as you even speak about creativity is kind of similar language that you would use with regards to spirituality and yoga. So I'm wondering, like, where does that, how, like, just to even like let people know a little bit about what your course kind of entails, and like how is that side of you going to help you deliver this material in the course?
Yeah. So what I've put together for it is that sense of like I really believe that through kind of tapping into like within yourself, like in small ways, that kind of helps us to like it's like kind of carving something really slowly. It kind of helps us to tap back into like our inner artist because I think like every child is like an artist, or even like I see it with my niece Sophia. She's like my world, and she's 4, and like they're just kids are just always so creative, and
Yeah.
I think ways of tapping into that, it's going to be different for each individual for sure. But in this course, what I've created is the ways that have helped me to tap back into it because I've been in stages where I've been really creatively blocked, like for long periods of time, through different things that happened throughout being in the music industry, and um, I felt quite creatively sort of like boxed in ways, like in certain situations, and so I've been to, I suppose, I guess the dark side of it in a lot of ways, and I've had to bring myself out of it in different ways. So I suppose what I really, really wanted to do through this course was use both holistic tools and practical tools to help people to kind of really integrate it into their life. So, like, say, for example, if it's somebody who, like, maybe loved to paint or loved to write when they were like maybe in their teens or even in their 20s, and they had kids or debt or life kind of happened so they didn't get to pursue it, and that happens, like reality can be really tough at times. So what I've kind of put into place is like just finding a structure to suit each individual person and for their life and their lifestyle, rather than kind of saying like, oh, just spend your whole day painting or spend your whole day writing. Like realistically, people can't do that. So some people can, but a lot of people can't. Um so yeah, I just wanted to bring in like things like visualization, meditation, breath work, and a lot of like practical tools and creative practices as well to just help people to integrate it back in, um, and really just form a relationship with that part of themselves as well, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
sounds
Yeah.
lovely. And you've already had a good few sign-ups, which is fantastic to see. Like, because it's so nerve-wracking putting yourself out. You're like, what if no one signs up? So isn't
Exactly.
it so validating? Like, you're like, oh, people see what I'm doing and they're like what I'm putting down. So, they want to get in on
Yeah.
it, which is so nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. And you know what, I like what you said about fear. Like I found when I initially put it up, I was like the fear and everything, imposter syndrome, all of that was allowed. Like, and then I found a few days after when I kind of tried to come back to the why. That was when people started signing up. So when I was on edge, it was like almost like I was drawing that towards me too. So once I actually came back to like, oh, this is something I really want to share, it changed. So
I
yeah.
do really believe that, like, we are as powerful as we allow ourselves to be. Um, because, you know, over the years, I've had to come back myself a few times and kind of check myself and be like, like, for example, feel the fear and do it anyway is something that I've kind of always tried to live by, but not always lived by.
Mhm.
Um, and like just coming back to yourself and like allowing yourself to say yes and allowing yourself to be in that kind of positive, open mindset so that when opportunities kind of fly by you, you're there to grab them. because I've noticed myself when I go through a period of, I would call it maybe readjusting my mindset or something like that,
Yeah.
the amount of opportunities that start coming my way. It's
I
just
know.
crazy. It's like nothing was happening for a couple of years, but I was kind of going through a period of like kind of bad anxiety and stuff. And
Yeah.
you know, when you're in that loop, I know it's terrible, but when you're in that kind of negative mindset about yourself, it's very difficult for good things to happen because you're not open to it. But when you kind of are able to pull yourself out with that and you become open to that, like literally everything comes at you. It's just nuts how that works. Like
Yeah.
it's like you have to open your eyes. You literally have to open your eyes and say yes, please.
Yeah. That's so true. It's actually mad, isn't it? Like it's crazy how that happens. I've like and it's so class to hear that happened for you as well. Like it's such a it is, I find it wild when that happens because I can totally relate, like
Yeah.
just with struggling with like my mental health and things like anxiety and feeling very low over the years. And when you're in that space, it is easy to spiral into um those limiting thoughts that are like, oh, I can't do this, or feeling not enough, like in so many ways, and it ripples into everything in so many ways. But it's almost like when you kind of like you said, readjust and transition a little bit, it actually changes everything when you're just when you it's like that feeling of like, okay, let's it's like when you kind of stop trying to control it almost. Even though you need kind of a bit of both, don't you? You need to kind of you need the action, but I find sometimes when I'm trying to kind of like do things a certain way, it's like the universe is like, nope, that's not.
Yeah.
You have to kind of surrender it too sometimes, don't you?
Yes. And I don't know where I heard it now. I was probably on a podcast or something recently and I don't remember the exact quote, but it was something like, or maybe it was even like a meme on Instagram. I have no idea. But I saw something where it was saying that basically like the like life is there for you when you're ready for it. Like it's
Yeah.
actually like everything that you want is there. But you just have to be open enough and like confident enough in yourself to see those opportunities. It's like
Yeah.
literally like anything you want is there, but you just have to be in the right mindset. And
Yeah.
that can be tricky, you know, because especially, you know, being a creative person and there comes other struggles with that with regards to, you know, success. And what is success to you? Is it financial success or is it like is it happiness? What kind of, where does that lie for you? But sometimes you can be beaten down by rejection or maybe not fitting the mold the way somebody else wants you to fit a mold, and
Yeah.
then maybe having to kind of constantly readjust and pull yourself back up again can be really difficult to stay positive.
Totally. Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Yeah, absolutely. Because you're dead right that like being a creative person, like we're so we feel things so deeply as well, don't we? So it's like rejection and like I think as well trying to there's like that thing of like rejection, but also the fact that there is no roadmap first. So that and that's what's so beautiful in a lot of ways because we carve our own roadmap for ourselves, and it means that there's so much freedom in that. But depending on how you're doing in yourself, sometimes that freedom is very overwhelming because you're like, well, where do I go? What do I do from here? And when you have like the energy to know and you're like inspired and you're like, oh, I know exactly what to do, and it's like you get that clarity and um that's I think that's like you said, that's like when whatever that there the universe or whatever is watching over us is kind of saying to us like everything is here for you, like here you go. But it's hard to kind of get the clarity sometimes when you're kind of when there's all this external stuff. So and I think as well it's like the rules we put on ourselves. I don't know. I definitely have found this is something that has given me a lot of freedom in the last kind of year or so. But I think I told myself like, oh, you're not. I like to myself. I was like, I'm not a. I'm not a real like a real artist unless I'm inverted commas like only doing that. But then it's like it's okay to love lots of things and be like
Yeah.
what's the word,
Faceted.
multifaceted. Yeah, exactly. So that's actually a really great thing. But it's, I think first, and I don't know where it came from. It's just like, the way, I don't know whether it's like society or maybe it was said to me somewhere once, like I don't even know, I'm not sure, but it's absolutely not true because like if you love a lot of things, same as like you, Rebecca, when you love, because you love lots of different sides of music as well, and I think it's great because it gives you variety and it gives you like another way to kind of connect with people as well. So, there's no right or wrong way, isn't it? But that's sometimes what can be both a blessing and a not a curse, but it has challenges at times, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. And I think probably like I know for me anyway, when I was younger, like I was always in my original band and writing original music and collaborating with my band. But maybe like we were like you kind of think that that's all you can do when you're an artist. You're like you have I think a lot of like people come up and they don't realize that it's very tricky to make a living to being
Yeah,
an original artist. It just is. It's just the way the
yeah,
market is. It just is.
yeah,
So, you do need to have kind of fingers in a few different pies to make it work. And like yourself, you've come around now to finding now different ways to kind of make balance things out for you and to kind of keep the momentum going. But I
yeah,
think for a lot of people that can be tricky because a lot of creative people are not very business minded, or at least they think they're not. They don't know where to start, or maybe they've no interest in that side of things.
yeah,
But you kind of need to have a little bit of a business hat on when you're, an artist, because
yeah,
how else are you supposed to earn a living?
yeah,
It's not easy. And even from the outside, like some artists look like they're really successful and you know, they're going on tours, they might be appearing on RTE and on the radio, whatever, but they might actually not be making a living from their music still,
yeah,
which might be very
yeah.
surprising to, people who are maybe not in the circuit.
Mhm.
Um, but how have you found that over the years, like kind of coming to that realization that it is very tricky to make a living from being an original artist?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It's like, yeah, like I definitely have found it's been really, like, I won't lie, it's been really tough at times to like, you know, like, yeah, I've been like, there's been years where I was literally scraping, like, just to try and scrape the pennies to pay the rent, honestly. And like, and I wrote a lot of songs about it, which was great. The feeling
Yeah.
of being like, how can I function? So, which often happens, like, when I find that when I'm in like that space of like uncertainty and kind of like pain, I suppose, is often when a lot of songs come, which is so healing as well and really helps me unravel what's going on. Because a lot of the time I'm like, oh, I don't have the words for this to say out loud, but then it comes out in a song, which is interesting. But yeah, it's like I feel like I tried a lot of methods of like trying to find ways, like I like say about 2 years ago I was like, right, I'm only gonna be an artist solely. And in saying that, like, I think the word artist can mean so many things because like we're all artists in what we're doing now, whether if you're making something like
Yeah.
it's art, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think I
Yeah.
thought that it had to be like one part of it, if that makes sense. But and I tried to do that and it was really, really tough. So I found the more that I'm worried about like the practical side of things of like how am I going to pay my car insurance, how am I going to pay my rent, um I can't write then because I'm worried, and you're kind of in
Yeah.
survival mode
Yeah.
really. So and kind of coming back to what you said about kind of valuing yourself and like valuing what you do, and like I definitely, when I was in that stage, I had this kind of feeling of like you're it's quite scary and you're kind of in survival mode because you're saying you're doing one thing but you can't actually do that thing because you're trying to just function. So I peeled it back and I was like, right, you know what, I absolutely am like qualified in what I'm doing, and I love sharing what I'm doing. And like I even in school and stuff, like I had a really bad time in school. Like I just wasn't academic at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out quite recently, only actually in the last year, that I was diagnosed with ADHD. And so it made
Okay.
me realize so much about that around my kind of, around my focus and around
Yeah.
my, um, around like how I see the world. And it's also made me like feel so, like it helped me realize like in a lot of joy, I suppose, why I pursue the things that I do as well. Like it does help you to view the world through quite a colourful lens, which is
Mm.
beautiful. Um, but yeah, so I would have failed like most things in school and like really didn't like I didn't I got really low points in my leaving cert, but got into college based on a really good audition. And like I was so grateful for that because like as you know from the because you did the degree as well, it's
Yeah.
amazing there and the School of Music and like um and from there, then I got a scholarship to do the master's, and it was all performance based, and ended up studying yoga then, and Reiki and different healing modalities. And on top of that, like from a really young age, had like always been writing and recording and like pursuing my music. But it was from being in Cork really helped me to like
Yeah.
really like evolve that. But I suppose
Great
the reason
city.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's a
just so
great
much
city.
art and creativity and everything. So, but yeah, I suppose the reason why I'm saying all of that is like, like there's so many ways that we can value ourselves, I suppose. So I was like, right, why would I just try and focus on this one thing when I could bring it all together? So that's kind of what inspired me to, from working as a singing teacher over the years and
Yeah.
songwriting and teaching yoga too. I was like, if I can do this online and help people to explore a part of themselves that might be maybe a little bit dormant and help to
Mm.
reignite that again, that would be just like really fulfilling. Like, so I'm just so excited to be able to do that and bring it out and as well like by resourcing and hopefully resourcing other people and sharing with other people, it's something that too will help me to value myself and what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, I definitely think just like finding different ways you can value yourself and how that can help others, is something that's
It's
very
like,
empowering.
yeah, yeah, there's a lot to be said about the the feeling that we get from like helping other people, where that be helping them be more creative or helping them whatever we're helping them with. It's like we had such a good feeling from that,
Yeah, yeah,
and it kind of just makes us more confident in what we're doing, that we can move forward.
yeah, yeah.
Question: would your like your child self or like your young teenage self be surprised in anything that you're doing now, or is what you're doing, does it really align with, like, does it echo through your whole life with what you're doing now, or is there something that she'd be really surprised about?
Oh, that's such a cute. I love that question. That's so lovely. Um, oh, well, I'd like to think she would be um happy about it, yeah, because like I suppose it's yeah, it's I suppose it has echoed through. Like, yeah, I've always been doing like what
The
I'm doing.
music.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, doing this in some way. So yeah, I think she'd be fairly delighted about it. Yeah, like I like to think so, which is nice. Because yeah, I suppose when you're so young and especially as a teenager, like your things are everything. Nothing really is clear. I don't know. I definitely found that when I was that age, it was just so um things just weren't clear at all. And maybe things are never really that clear. I don't know, but I yeah, I'd like to think that she, especially in terms of like um getting the songs out there and really like pursuing that and as well my teachers, like say my singing teacher growing up, Lorraine Nolan, like I don't know if you came across
Yeah,
Lorraine.
I do
Yeah,
know the name. I've never worked with her though. She did Songbirds, I think. She did a girl who did
yeah,
Songbirds. Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's her name. Yeah, she's incredible. Like, and she was my singing teacher too most of my life when I was younger, and like it's having people like that that kind of show you like and inspire you so much and are kind of like that guiding light. So and I'm sure you find that as well with working like with other singers, like if you can share something you're passionate about and it be something that like I think you can tell when people really love it too, and when you're sharing something you're passionate about, it's a really special thing. And she definitely did that for me, you know, because I always saw how energized she was by her passion. So it was definitely, yeah, really cool to see.
I love like looking back at like when you were a child or a teenager and like just seeing how what we're doing now like has echoed throughout our whole lives, like even the influences of different people throughout the years. Like I mean, I would have like in a creative way and a non-creative way. So in when I worked in retail as well, like I had some really like strong managers,
Mm.
just and I really felt energized watching them work. I felt like these are strong women and they're like doing what
Yeah,
they want to do, and they're like, you know, and I
yeah,
was like, I love that. And like when I was, I think, 7 years old, I started a club in school called the Hospital Helpers Club. I don't know if I mentioned this to you in the
wow,
last when
that's
we
so
chatted
cool.
last. And I basically asked the teachers if we could like do a fundraiser, and we did like a tin sale. Do you remember doing tin sales?
Oh, with the cakes and stuff.
Yeah, and like you
Yeah,
bring in
oh
like
wow.
tins, and like you just, I don't know, you kind of just bought. Everyone brought in tins, and then you bought more tins, and that's how you made more. That made the money.
I love that.
But I
Entrepreneur,
remember,
like that's deadly.
yeah, like literally from a young age, I had that little entrepreneurial little streak
Yeah,
like in me, and
yeah,
I just find it like I find it really uh like a makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing when I look back and see that that's been me all along. So I'm not really conning myself now. I'm
yeah.
actually doing what I've always had little hints and whispers to me all along through life. I think that's a really
Yeah,
nice thing
that's
to
so
think
true.
about.
Yeah,
Um,
that's like the echo, isn't it? It's like
yeah,
your sign that you're like in alignment. You're on the right path, you know? I love that. That's so cool.
yeah, because I was listening to another podcast recently, and the guy in it was talking about this exact thing, and he was saying like he was talking about from a business perspective and like entrepreneurs. He was like saying like when he's chatting to like people about their business and what they're doing, he like asks them, like one of the first questions he asks is so how, tell me, like when did you first start showing an entrepreneurial streak, or when did, like, have you always had this? And he says if they say no, then he says you might not be in the right um not be in the right area,
Mm.
because he thinks that like if there are echoes throughout your life about what you're doing now, then there's no doubt that you're doing the right thing. You're just following the path, you're following your passion, and you're following what you know as well, um which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, that's so true actually, isn't it? Because it's like that feeling of like, even though like what you said about the feel of fear and do it anyway, like that's so scary to do, but in a way, sometimes it feels like familiar. Because if you have that streak in you, you've probably been doing that in small ways all of the time. But it's just like pushing past it, and even like that thing of like when you're like, did you say you were 7 or 8 when you did that?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so like, you know, that age as well, I think we've so much confidence, don't we?
yeah,
Like sometimes like it's like trying to like get back into that, like kind of almost like that titled like curiosity, because I think that's what brings us to where we're supposed to be going in a lot of ways. You know, like I think when I followed what I thought people wanted me to do before what I wanted to do, that's when I felt the most kind of like, oh, I don't know if this is right for me, but I'm here now kind of thing. And it's only when I found if I'm like, okay, what do I actually want? And really listen and kind of giving myself like that headspace, whether it's like making sure I'm like going for a walk without earphones, or driving, actually, I find I get that clarity where it's those reminders where it's like, what do you actually want? And um yeah, but it's really, and I love that about like that. It's like those little reminders of when you were young.
Yeah. It's um so you have you Flow Fire Creative. That's your new project.
Yeah.
What is Flow Fire Creative?
So it's it's a place where people who want to reignite their creativity can come to and be within community with other people who are experiencing it in the same way, but maybe like through different mediums. And it's a place as well to be like held accountable. Because,
Mm.
sometimes we might say like, oh, I'm going to make sure I like write for half an hour every morning, or I'm going to sing every evening, or maybe like your medium is like pottery and you want to make sure you make time for it. And it can be really, really hard to do that if it's like an idea on its own. Sometimes I found, but like when it's like, if you're kind of in a situation where you're being held accountable for it, and that's kind of sometimes what I've found has energized me the most. And so that's a really big part of it. But then the other part of it is that I'll be the person, I suppose, guiding each person through that and helping them find a routine that suits them, like a creative practice that suits them, and not something that they can kind of do when everything else is done, something that works with their day, that's actually sustainable. And I'll be using ways of doing that kind of works again for each person, but also a chance to kind of experience it in a group as well. Because I think being around, like what you said before, like-minded people, it makes you realize that it's like a real thing, and that we are deserving of it. And I really just wanted to create that space and and build on that. So to start with it, it's a 6-week course, but I'm hoping I've lots of other plans for it after. But to start, it's going to be a 6-week program just to help people to tap back into that and have support in doing that as well.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. I love all the artwork and everything. It just screams SAL. Like it's so beautiful. Everything about it is just beautiful.
Thanks.
And have you found that the people who've signed up are all like music artists?
Kind of a mixture. So
Yeah,
there's a lot of songwriters and musicians, and then there's like I've some people who are kind of more into like dance and other creative mediums too.
interesting.
Um, so I think it'll be really interesting having everyone together, and I'm just so excited for everyone to connect with each other too, because I think there'll be opportunities for collaboration too, and people to really connect as well. Because I know that a lot of being an artist, from what I find from like touring and performing and being on the road and even writing, like a lot of it, it's we do a lot on our own. So having a having a chance to be around people, like that's part of why I wanted to create it too. Because I was like, what would be something that I'd love to do? What's a kind of a course that I'd love to do? And I feel very grateful that I've reached a point now where I've studied lots of different kinds of things and my own experience in the music industry too, that I was like, right, what can I do to bring it together? So yeah, I think it'll be great to connect people in that way.
And are there still spaces left on it, or has it sold
There
out?
is, yeah, yeah. There's still spaces left.
I
So
know you had four. I think you had four spaces left the other day, didn't you? When you wrote
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So
Okay.
there's a couple more left. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely be class to.
Very good. So if anyone is listening, when the course is starting, so I won't have the podcast out, but you'll be running the course again, I assume.
I'll be running it again. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
So
Yeah, hopefully in a few months' time it'll be running again. Yeah.
okay. So guys, you'll miss this one if you haven't, because this is going to come out after it starts. But definitely check out Flow Fire Creative. I love the name, by the way.
Thanks.
Because it's like flow as in like flow, creativity, and then fire, like your fire is lit. Is this way? This is the same kind of
Exactly.
mindset
Yeah.
you're,
That's
and
it. You
obviously
hit the nail on
creative.
the head.
It's
Yeah,
it's
totally.
it's just it's perfect. Like it's perfect amount. It's like the energies balance each other. I think even in the words, like fire is like so like burning and energetic, and flow seems kind of more calm and steady and knowing. Like
Yeah.
they seem like the perfect combination. I love like names are hard to come up with for things, aren't
So
they?
yeah, they are hard to cope, but yeah. Thanks for saying that though. You literally like captured it so perfectly because that's exactly what I was. That's exactly what came to me with the name. It actually just came to me one day. I know it'll sound. I sometimes I say things and I'm like I sound like so very fairy, but it's just the way my brain works. But it did come to me when I was meditating one day that it just came in like flow fire, and then I was like, oh, that's what it is because so much of like breath work and creative intentions and visualization is about kind of flow, but then we need the fire, so we kind of need it's like the yin and the yang, like you need the
Yeah,
masculine and you need the feminine energy, like the masculine to get the stuff done and feminine to allow the creativity in. So I think it's in both. I think it's in male and female and non-binary in all of us, that male and female energy. So that's kind of what I was trying to bring together for it, that we need both to complement the other, to get things done, to have a structure in place, but also to really, really tune in to that connection to your artist as well.
yeah. It's because it's tricky because I had planned on like rebranding the podcast actually
Oh,
this
oh,
year
cool.
when I went when I planned on doing it like for coming back, but I just can't decide on a name. Like I have a few ideas going around, but it's just so hard because you Google it and then somebody else has it. I'm like, no.
Oh, really? And what kind of names are you thinking?
I was thinking like the one I was kind of liking the most was Your Voice Unlocked.
Oh, I love that.
That's what I was
That's
thinking.
so cool.
But there is a girl in the UK who has a website. Her website, like she's I think she's vocal coaching. I don't know if it's like speaking coaching or if it's singing coaching. I can't remember now, but it was I
Yeah,
think it was The Voice Unlocked.
cool. I love
So
that.
I'm like, I don't know, should I try come up with something different? I just don't know.
So she's the voice unlocked and you were thinking of your voice.
Yeah,
No.
yeah,
Or like unlocked voice, or I
yeah. I
love your
had
voice unlocked though. I think that's because I think as well if she has like it's a different name that she has, so I think
yeah,
yours would be brilliant.
yeah. We'll
Yeah.
see. Like actually, it was Trish. Do you know Trish Carroll?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh sorry, I thought you meant Trish. Trish
Oh
Rainey, Trish
yeah,
Carroll. Yeah.
Trish. Yeah, her
She
surname
was
is
in your
Carol. For a minute,
ear.
I was like the German girl, my German friend.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually sent the names to her, and she suggested putting in your actually, and I think that's actually a really good suggestion. Like it's very simple, but it makes it more
Yeah.
personal as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, names are tricky, and like I
Yeah.
think I've been holding back because again, I've been fearing making the
Yeah.
decision to go with it, like just in case it's the wrong decision, kind of way.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a great name though. I think that's really cool because even like the RK vocal studio is really, really cool. I think it's so striking, and even like your logo and your branding, and it's all just really, really like it when I see your branding and your logo and your name, it strikes me as like what you were saying about like that strong woman, like resilience, clarity. It's like
Yeah, it's
brilliant.
it's interesting because like RK Vocal Studio was just my name's Rebecca Kyo, so RK Vocal.
Yeah,
So like I was even considering changing my studio name
cool.
to match in with the voice unlock thing.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I think because I've
Mm.
been in college for 4 years now and kind of only doing like the vocal coaching like kind of part time really.
Yeah,
I think I was want to like maybe like let this year breathe it out a little bit till I
yeah,
kind of find myself with it all.
yeah,
And I'm kind of separating like the vocal studio from Rebecca Kill vocal coach as well. So there's a few
yeah,
things
yeah.
happening there. I'm just gonna like
Totally.
give it a bit of time to breathe before I kind of
Yeah,
settle on this is what it should be. You want
exactly.
to feel
Yeah,
you feel like this is exactly what it should be like.
totally.
But
Yeah, and I think that's so good about being self-employed and being like, you know, open to ideas as well, that you're not kind of that there's so many options of what you can do. And I love that you said as well about like giving yourself time to breathe with it, especially with the baby. Like I'd say that's really like the perfect time for like that to kind of like tune in and
yeah,
just be kind of with your lovely little fella and like just give yourself a chance to see what can work. Because I think there is like, like you said, two people like Whitney and, and I found two people like Loretta helping me so much. She's like so amazing. Like there are so many people doing such brilliant things in lots of different ways, and there's so many ways that you can share what you love, and like you're already doing it
Yeah.
in such an amazing way. Like what you're doing is so brilliant. So I've no doubt that like you'll continue to do even more
I
amazing things. Like
know.
it's
I know
very,
it's exciting, you know, like
yeah,
I feel really energized at the moment. I'm like I have my
yes,
degree now.
yeah,
I
brilliant. Congrats. That's so good. That
Yeah, I know.
blew. Oh my God, that's mad.
I know I got through it somehow. Oh
Fair
god.
play.
But yeah, like I do feel energized and like in a way like it is creativity coming up with ideas
Definitely.
to for like different courses and stuff, and one of
Yeah.
my goals for this year is to work less but earn more. So that's part
Yeah.
of the course is exactly a way to do that.
Oh, totally, totally. Yeah, I
Because
think that's such a
obviously
good idea because I think with being self-employed as well, we say yes to everything, and then like I found like so I got really really sick kind of November December, and like I've never been physically sick in my life, and
okay.
started off with like a little bit of a cold, and I ended up I think it was probably a lot of burnout, but I ended up getting pneumonia for like 2 months, and I was out of action, like had to cancel all my gigs, all my teaching, and literally just had to rest. And but I think it came from that same place of like I was like, um, I noticed like I think I was just kind of out of alignment because I think I was just saying yes to too many things, and
Yeah.
everything I was doing I was loving. Like I was doing incredible. I was really really happy with the things I was doing, but I just didn't have any time off, and
Yeah.
I just wasn't sleeping enough, and didn't realize because I was kind of running on adrenaline and energy, and
Yeah.
um so so I think it's easy to like, work all the time. Well, not easy. It's definitely not easy when we're doing it, but I suppose the saying yes is kind of the part that we can do. We end up doing loads of stuff. And then, um, when it is possible to like work less, but still like have more time and still
Yeah.
earn more, but actually be, in a, what's the word? Work smarter. Yeah.
Yeah. Work
Isn't it? Yeah.
smarter.
But
Definitely
I'm only
because
learning, like I'm definitely like a bit like a baby when it comes to all business stuff. I'm only really learning, how
yeah,
to do that.
you'll learn so much. You'll find that like you'll start seeing the like web of connections between everything you've done in your life, and you're like, wow, this
Yeah.
all helps me to be a business person.
Yeah.
Everything you've done,
Yeah.
it all connects together, and it all helps build different like frames of mind and like little threads of thought that make you the type of business person that you will be, you know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's really exciting to me. Like this is so cool because no one else has lived your life the way you've lived it. So
Mm.
how could anybody be
Yeah.
exactly the way you are? So you've got something really unique to offer, you know, which
Yeah.
is lovely. And part of
Yeah.
the
That's
reason
so
why
true.
so many people have signed up for your course already, like, you know, because they see that in you, like you're a super authentic person and you wear your heart on your sleeve, and you know that people obviously are really connecting to that. And
Mm.
like you said
Thanks.
earlier, you feel a little inspired by me, but like I feel inspired by you as well. Like I think I just love the way you express yourself. I love the way that you wear your heart on your sleeve. I love the way you create, and your music obviously is fabulous. And you know, I support everything that you do. I think it's I
Oh.
wish you all the best in everything that you do. I think it's fantastic.
Oh, thanks, Rebecca. You're actually making me feel emotional.
Oh,
In like the best way, honestly, because you've always been so support. Like honestly, you're just amazing for supporting artists and other creatives and coaches, and you're just so brilliant. And like I'm so grateful for like having you in my life and all the support that you give me always. Like even like it's those things of like when it can be like when you post something and you know that people are just like in your corner when you release something, and with Patreon, like you've just been incredible just being there and supporting it, and it's really really I just think it's so like great to have like people support. I was going to say women supporting each other, and that's very true too. But it's people, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's like
Yeah.
supporting each other, and um, so yeah. So just thank you for all that you do, and
Ah,
like
God. It's
you're just brilliant and everything you're doing. I'm so excited for your course as well. So
Oh yeah.
excited.
I was
Yeah,
actually going to call it the voice unlocked or your voice unlocked, sorry.
I love that.
But then I was chatting to like a guy here from Clonmel, and he was like, maybe you need to like simplify it, because he's someone who supported me as well, like in everything I've done, and like he's really rallied people together to like come on board with the course. But a lot of the people
Wow.
who would be joining would be kind of like a lot of beginner singers, I would say,
Okay.
people who are like inquirers who would have a maybe beginner to intermediate level.
Cool.
Um, and he was like, maybe you should just like simplify the name and simplify the description. Like, I was like, maybe I will. So I was like, the whole point of doing a beta course, I decided I'll do a beta course,
Yeah.
is to like try these things out and test. So I said I'd take his advice, and maybe like, and going on the line, I can use the other name for maybe slightly more advanced singers,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
and like
Yeah, that's
tailor make, and
true.
like, because I think the language you use when you're speaking
Mm.
about a product that you have is very important. So
Yeah,
like,
that's so true.
like if you have, like he said to me, somebody might not know what your voice unlocked means, like they might be like, what does that mean, like do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I'm like, that's
Yeah.
true, like, but I'd say like, you know, like you probably would have a good understanding of what it means, and like other people who like maybe have gone to college or studied music and that might understand it. But
Yeah.
I think it's but I've learned that as well, like language is important, like how you,
Yeah.
and that, I mean, that like echoes into like songwriting as well. Like the words you
Totally.
use are important. They do mean something. They have an
Yeah.
impact. Which
Definitely.
brings me to ask you, because I know we're getting close to the end. Where are you at with now with your with SAL and your own original music? And you've done it quite a bit in the last 3 or 4 years since we chatted. So maybe you could like just say where you're at now and what
Yeah.
are you doing? Are you going on any tours? I know you've been on a tour already this year, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah. I just did I booked a tour in Germany with two other artists. So I was we decided to do a triple header. So
Wow.
myself, Sarah Hickey and Rebecca Ruan, and we did a triple header, and Keelan, my boyfriend, accompanied us on guitar as well, um and we honestly had a ball. It was amazing, and like I've been like playing in Germany since about 2019, apart from the gaps of COVID, like the 2020, 2021. Um, but the people over there are just like incredible, and they just love Irish artists, and they keep coming back to shows. So, all the shows were sold out, which was wild, like it was crazy. And um but yeah, so I'm just at where I'm at now is I really, really want to record my album this year. So I released my first album under my name's Sara Ryan, which is my full name. But then since rebranding as SAL, which has kind of been my nickname growing up and also kind of suited with the different direction that I wanted to go in. So I've been releasing like singles to to yeah, just kind of wanted to try that route for a while to release singles, and that's been really, really great. And I really, really enjoyed just like having like that every few months, every few weeks, like being like, right, what's the message of this song, and what am I bringing with it, and I guess the energy behind Sal as well kind of fits into what we're talking about too, of like that thing of like not making yourself small and just being like, right, this is me, and I'm allowing yourself to take up space really, um, which I just found hard to do, like which sounds like when I say that out, I feel like it sounds like it's not true, because when we're performers and stuff, it sounds like we're like, that's natural first, but it actually wasn't. I did find, even though I love performing, and it's like it's always been home since I was really, really young, but I found that like really owning it part hard. So I've really been trying to step into that the last couple of years, and that's been really empowering. Um, so I feel really ready now to record my album, and I'm going to try to run a funding campaign this year uh, for that to make that happen. Um, and heading back to Germany then in October, and I've a lot of like solo live dates booked in Ireland this year as well, and hopefully some bigger shows with the band towards the end of the year. So Yeah, and I think a couple of, it's not finalized yet, but I think some more kind of mainland Europe dates as well.
Amazing.
So yeah, so like I love traveling and gigging. So it's honestly my favorite thing to do. It makes me feel so alive. So I just want to keep doing that. And I guess as well, like a big part of the last couple of years has been, tapping back into my creativity in a way that feels like me as well. And that's been like a healing process in itself. So it's kind of all brought me to
Mm.
this point with the course and
You
with.
can you can see it though, like you can see you're blooming, like, and
um,
you've been kind of really like unraveling those flower petals as the years have gone on. Like you're really starting to like, you can see that you're really starting to like allow space for yourself, and it's very attractive. Like it's very like people will want to work with you, people will want to support you because of that. Like, do you know what I mean?
Thank
And
you so
I think
much.
it's amazing. I'm delighted for you. And you
Thank
can
you so
tell by the
much.
way you're speaking about it as well. You're like you're light up when you speak about it, and it feels like you've landed almost.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much. It's I feel very excited about it. It's funny because I think with the music industry, and as you know, it's kind of a weird space in a lot of ways. And I unfortunately over the last couple of years have seen a side of the industry and been involved with a part of the industry. Like I suppose people that I've been kind of working with, and then very much working with. I guess it was a side of the industry that didn't feel very good and didn't feel safe at all. And I felt like from experiencing that, because I came from like that place of like, um, because I was so afraid for so long to didn't realize I was so afraid, but I wasn't really taking up space. I thought I was, but I was kind of being like, "Is this okay?" Do you know that kind of
I
thing?
know what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah, it took
exactly.
me a
Yeah.
long time, and then I kind of stepped into that whole world of this kind of strange side of the industry. That just was there was a whole story behind it, but basically what I'll say was it was a big, big learning curve. And it was from getting away from that I was like, okay, like I won't lie, it was a hard transition for sure.
Mhm.
But I'm so grateful for all of it because it's helped me realize how much we can do ourselves, like, and I think I thought um maybe kind of subconsciously thought that like there's certain things people have to do for you, or there's only certain things that we can there's only so much we can do ourselves when really like, and I'm not trying to sound preachy in saying it, but I really realized like there's so much we can do ourselves. And even with like all of the like the German tour and everything, like I booked all that myself. And like
Mhm.
I have been running this business of being an artist. I feel so it still feels weird calling it that, but I know
Keep
that's what it
saying
is.
it, and it'll
It's
start
like,
to
yeah.
feel okay after a while.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, so it's been great just to kind of really try to own that. And it's when you do that, I think, like you said earlier, the opportunities just flow in, and I'm delighted, like, like things are really, really flowing at the moment. And I think a lot
Yeah.
of that is down to me getting out of my own way and being like, it's actually all right to share the things you love because it helps other people do the same. So yeah,
And you know what? We only get one life, so why not do the things we love?
I know.
Literally, like, let's not waste time. Let's just do it. Let's do
Yeah.
it. As long as it's not hurting anybody, why the hell not?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, well, we'll finish it there, I think,
Okay,
because
perfect.
I actually have a lesson at
Oh,
supposed to be
sorry.
two,
Yeah.
but no, you're fine.
Perfect. Perfect.
But thanks everybody for tuning in, and thank you so much, Sal, for giving me your time. It was so beautiful to chat to you today, and I'm just so happy that you're just blossoming so much at the moment, and you just seem so happy, and I can't wait to see what you're going to do, the rest of this year.
Oh, thanks,
So
Rebecca.
you're
Thanks
so
so much
well.
for having me and like for all of your support and for giving me space to chat to you. Honestly, it's always just I love talking to you anyway. So it's great to
Great.
chat on your podcast. I love it. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you. See you guys.